Hi, my name is Alexander Lloyd Blake. This Might Get Personal. Here you can catch part 2 of the conversation with Tiffany Monique. Getting to see your spirit and getting to see, because that kind of energy comes from leadership, and so to be able to see kind of how you worked and how you manage, there are a lot of people in the room, have thoughts and dreams and goals, but it seems like because of your past, you are well positioned to manage all of that. So again, as you work with some of these bigger projects, what constitutes safe collaboration for you?
So that's such an amazing and important question. So safe collaboration for me at this phase of my journey, it literally has to make sense with where I am, with what I believe, with it has to make sense with where I am in life. And it's so I've wrestled with this because, of course, as a background vocalist, you are kind of in the culture of grabbing the gig. An opportunity comes up, you jump at it, you know. I've never necessarily been the person to jump at every opportunity that came my way. Because I mean, I'm a church girl, so I just didn't want. And then on top of that, I was a daddy's girl. Like, I didn't want to do nothing. And my daddy was gonna be like, "What is?"
Right.
So I've always been intentional about the projects I've been a part of, but in terms of adding genuine mental health considerations into the equation, which I didn't always do. For me, number one, I can't be a part of anything that I will be embarrassed when it comes out. So if the messages that you're talking about go against what I believe in, if it's full of hate or envy or to a certain degree, honestly, like I'm old school. Like, I don't want too much lewdness. I don't want a whole bunch of cursing. If it's any of that, that's not the gig for me. That's for somebody else. I'll even point you somebody that will kill it. But
Right.
that's just not that's not the role for me. So safe collaboration, number one, requires alignment. I have to see myself in it. And thankfully, I've had the opportunity to work with artists that's what there's a message in what they do. They're doing everything with purpose. I've worked with brands, I've worked with artists and companies that just so happen to always try to have an objective to what they're doing. So in that regard, that's made things safe for me. Also, learning the business. I learned very early on how to read my own contracts. And if I got to sit in front of Google for 3 hours and type up every, for with unforeseen, I will do that. Yes, hire a lawyer. That's nice too. Please, by all means, if you can do. But understand how to do that yourself. Understand what is being asked of you. Because sometimes even the best intentioned lawyers will not understand the gravity or impact that a particular clause or section, sorry, my dog is demanding entry. But sometimes a lawyer, or even a manager may not understand some of the complexities or nuances of a particular clause. You need to know what you're signing up for. Like, are you being paid on your off days? If you're not, then are you cool with that? Are they paying for your food? Can you post pictures online when this is over, or can you never post them? They may not see the benefit of that or even be thinking about that because they're looking for the kind of boilerplate static terms and things. So safe collaboration, know your contracts, only align with projects that are meaningful to you. And that varies. Some things it's like, what matters to me is this check, my coins. And if that's what matters to you, then by all means get your coins. I have a 20-year-old son. So I never want to be a part of anything that my son can't watch or that's going to embarrass him down there while he's at college. No. So I'd say the other, I won't say last thing because I think there's many things that contribute to safe collaboration. You can't always control the people you work with, but you can control how you work with them. There are some people that I instantly know this is going to be my friend. And there are other people that you realize, oh, wow, this is a colleague.
I love that. You're like, this is going to be a colleague.
You know, and you have to, I'm the person, and it is not comfortable, but I'm very much a person that if I can't kind of read the room, I'll keep my distance. It will be a band of 13. I will be the only one that doesn't go out if I'm not sure that y'all not going to have me in something crazy, or even just the energy. If the energy is just wrong, I'm very much influencing. I'm an empath, so I absorb everything. Everything. I don't want to be in any environment where, oh, you're talking about this person and then to get back in there, well, Tiff was there and she said, so safe collaboration requires trust. And if you haven't been around people long enough to establish trust, then don't go around until you do. If you can, you know, right. Or if you have to go, you might have to work with them. We can't always choose who we work with, but you can minimize how much you allow them to influence your space, your environment, you know. So yes, I'd say doing things with purpose, understanding your agreements and what your commitments are in writing with legal sense, and having trust in, or I don't even know. I want to say trust, but even if you can't get trust, at least know the room you're in. Know the room you're in. Everyone won't be your friend. Everyone isn't in the room to be lifelong friends. Some are just collaborators for this moment. Know the difference, because sometimes, and I have been unfortunately heartbroken by this a lot, there are people to this day that I love that I know don't like me. And I don't know why they don't like me. I don't think I've given them a reason. And I'm like, I feel like I'm the type of person, even if I did something, I think I'm approachable. Just like, Tiff, I ain't like how you said that or something. I've had to learn it's not everybody's job to like you. And some people simply won't. And you have to guard your boundaries well enough to know that's not a safe space for me. I need to remove myself, because sometimes they will front as allies. They will front as partners. And then behind, they will use information or access to do something that undercuts you. And in order, you know, and you think you're collaborating like, oh, yeah, that's my friend. That's my hey, bro, he says, if you're not getting that same bro sis energy at all times, be mindful.
Believe that. Yes.
Believe that, believe that, because that not being safe, and artists are so vulnerable. And I feel like when we get into creative spaces, even if you're in a supporting role, we have to open ourselves up so that we allow what we were born with to kind of go out into the world. If you were in the wrong space, while your heart is open like that, the wrong stuff has the opportunity to get in.
Right.
And when I say the wrong, even in terms of like resentment, envy, jealousy, you're talking about somebody all of a sudden, you're something that's not even a part of your natural character, because you've been around the wrong people. They done turned you into them. Like, so yes, safe collaboration. I guess if I had to put it in one word, boundaries. Guard your boundaries in all facets of what is important to you.
As an artist, as a human, I feel like that word keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know if I've like really done the math about it, but just worth and boundaries. Well, I guess that's the math.
Right. Yeah.
Your boundaries are a reflection of worth.
Yes. And if I have to throw one more in there, and it's something that I think we as a culture struggle with. I think a lot of people who were born in church struggle with. Really know your worth and don't be afraid to know it. I come from a culture of being humble. I learned how to be humble very early. Again, I was affirmed very much growing up. With those affirmations, my family also taught me, this is how you take a compliment, with grace. You take a compliment. So I know how to have amazing, groundbreaking things happen around me and not let it blow my head up. But there's some times where you need a little, you need to put that on the paper. So
Right.
yes, sir. You know what I mean? And sometimes we are just humble at the wrong time and in the wrong spaces and in the wrong ways because we've been cultured to believe that speaking up for ourselves and our worth is arrogant or wrong, you know.
Just
And
taking up
that
space.
just taking up space is just wrong. And that is something I've had to unlearn. And then once I thought I unlearned it, I had to unlearn it some more because you know, you sometimes you can have the most amazing opportunities, but because you don't know your worth, you didn't even get what you could have gotten from it. You know, because you didn't show up in the fullness of who you are and what you're worth. You gave from your own belief, like, oh, I'm just here to do, and that's what you required, and that's what they gave you. You know.
So, but you've been such a gift to me, even in the short amount of time. I mean, the things that I've asked for since knowing you.
Yes.
Some of the things we even talked about today.
Yes.
Before this call, I'm like, who is that person? I would have never asked for those things. And I think that's why it's also great to have people around you who see you.
Yes.
Bigger
Yes.
than you see yourself. Because it's just like, I don't know why you're not asking for that.
Right.
Like,
What's wrong? Don't you ever do that again.
Right. Don't do that. Literally, as I have been told.
Right.
Don't do that again. And yeah, it finds out that like, it's funny, the things that I would never have asked for, once I ask for them, people are like, of course.
Right. Right. There is nothing more humbling than somebody asking your rate and you give them a number and they're like, oh, okay, sure. And then you're like, I could have added a zero.
Right, you're right.
You know what I mean?
I couldn't even sleep last night. I asked you this question.
Right. And it was that easy. I'm upset that you answered that fast.
Right. Also, yes, you could have at least paused. Fake.
Right.
Fake it.
You know? No. So yes, you have to, I dare say I took that back into safe collaboration because if you don't know who you are in the room, how will anybody else treat you like you're worth if you've already said you're down there? Then that's what you said. So
I agree. I agree with you. Right. Right. You're right. Whatever you say about yourself, you're right.
You're right. You know? So yeah, so it's definitely I am learning to take up space and to your point, my dog again. And to your point, a lot of times when we take up space, you'll realize people already saw you in that space in the first place. They were just waiting for you to get it.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've experienced that even this year, even through heartache and grief. It's like I'll do something and I'm like, with scared, typing with scared hands or scared, can I have them? Oh, sure. Oh,
okay.
like, let me sit up in my chair. So yes, absolutely. You're the greatest advocate. There is nobody. I don't care how much anybody loves you. Nobody will advocate for you like you will. Mm-hmm. No one. Nobody knows all of the corners and facets of what make you you. They don't know what your talents are. They don't know what your resources are. They don't know what's still lurking in the back of your mind that you're waiting to create or have the capability to create. You just haven't had the resources or the opportunities to do it. Nobody knows that but you. And if you're too scared to say it, then you can't be mad at somebody else for not acknowledging it.
I feel like we're going to watch this back and be like, "Ooh, she was teaching us." And, they also don't know where all it took for you to get to where you are.
Yes.
And I remember when we talked the first time, you told me kind of there was a moment in time where you didn't know if you would have a voice.
Listen, yes. So in 2014, we were just coming off of the OTR 1 tour. And what was ironic about this was when we started the Miss Carter tour in 2013. And during the Miss Carter tour, there was a photographer that we met. Her name was Yashra. The absolute sweetest spirit I had ever met in my life. Like angelic. Mm. Like she was one of those people you almost meet and it's like, how are you here? Are you supposed to be down here with us? Like just angelic. Fast forward a couple of months into the tour, she just we went home for a break. She went home from a break. Went to the doctor, found out she had esophageal cancer. And so she ended up having to leave the tour. Um, she spent the next year and a half kind of going through her journey, and we were still on tour, but everybody in that camp loved her. So we were all like plugged in and visiting her. When we went to London, we went to go visit her. We were so invested or whatever. Mm. Long story short, after about 14 months of her battle, she transitioned, she passed. And that was in October, I believe, of 2014. So we were all, grieving that and like, oh my, she was so young. It was such a rare form of cancer for someone so young, someone Black, and a woman to get. And she got it. So it was like, oh my God, and come to find out she had probably had it. She had had those symptoms for years.
Oh, okay.
And just missed it. Didn't even, know. And then just one day decided to go, and it had advanced to stage 4 by the time she found out. A couple of weeks after she passed, I went to the doctor because I was like having, I think like acid reflux or something like that. They thought it was a gallbladder issue. So went to get checked. And long story short, they found a lump in my esophagus. Many, many rounds of tests later, they found out that I had stage 2 esophageal cancer. So then I'm like, wait a minute. I just saw this.
Wow.
I know how this ends. Now, I didn't have stage 4 at the time, but at the time mine was stage 2. The urgency, and again, I had other issues going on, but the moment that the doctors found that, it was like every other issue I had, they ignored. They were primarily focused on this. And I remember talking to the doctor, and they started explaining to me the nature of the surgery. They told me the different treatments, and they were like, you have to do chemo, radiation, and surgery. So I'm like, okay, but my main thing was, okay, but will I be able to sing again? And the doctor said, honey, I'm trying to save your life.
He said, pause.
Right, like priorities, And so that was a very long it really started from October 2014. I was going to the doctor's treatments, all of that other stuff through to March of 2015. To March of 2015. In March of 2015, I had to have a major surgery. They consider it the most serious surgery outside of trauma-related surgeries. And it was basically an open thoracotomy where they basically like cut you in half and have to repair your esophagus. But that was the only thing that they could literally do to avoid, number one, save my life. Number two, they had to try to remove as much of the tumor as they could. And it was occupying kind of that whole area. So they had to rebuild all of that. So I'd say from probably October of 2014 till maybe September of 2015, I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to sing anything. Even after the surgery, it was about an 8-hour surgery. And then I had several, I couldn't eat for a couple of months. I had to eat, then when I started eating, I had to eat baby food for a long time. But even with the surgery at the time, I had an 18 to 24% chance of survival at 5 years. So literally from March 2015 to March 2020, I pretty much blocked out planning anything long term because I had just watched a friend of mine pass from this. So I figured, I'm out of here. So in terms of even like me doing an album or me it was just like, I can go on tour because I did end up, what was so sweet, and they all handled me with like kid gloves, but I did end up going back to work. I got diagnosed in October. I went back to work about a year later. After I had the surgery, after I had radiation, I had started healing. My voice wasn't the strongest, but it was coming back. I at least knew I could do background singing at the time, and B was doing a performance. So it was like, maybe this is a good one for you to test out and see if, And so I, did that performance, but literally for 5 years, I was kind of wondering if I was just on borrowed time and when my time was, going to come, which in and of itself kind of caused a depression because I couldn't really see. I couldn't see past, not even I couldn't see past 5 years. I couldn't see 5 years, just even in terms of my vision, my planning, what I was dreaming for, because I just saw someone else, transition from that. And so it took a long time for me to realize, like, oh, I'm still here. Maybe I could do something, like, And again, it's weird, but I keep coming back to like Renaissance tour, because I feel like in 2023, so many things in my life just snapped. Like, wait a minute, I'm still here. I can sing some stuff. And I remember when I was sick, and doctors were telling me, like, they weren't even concerned with me singing. They were concerned with my life. But I was concerned with singing too, because I'm like, if I can't sing, I might as well be gone. I felt.
I was going to ask, how do you feel like in that time?
That wasn't a soothing trade-off for me at the time. That was how I fed my family. That was, I gave up everything to do this. So it wasn't to me as cut and dry, like, oh, well, at least I'll be alive. Yeah, to do what? And I without being overly graphic, but to give it context, the type of surgery they were initially talking about, I was going to completely lose my esophagus, completely lose my stomach. They were going to have to attach my small intestine to the bottom of my throat. That was what living. You might not be able to sing, but at least that's what at least you're alive amounted to. Over the course of my cancer journey, I met several other esophageal cancer survivors and patients. Some who I know personally or met personally who had their surgery are not here now. So literally, I can't necessarily say that even him saying, I'm trying to save your life, after he had showed me what life meant for me. And I, at the time I was, 37 at the time. So I'm like, okay. And they were like, oh, well, who wants to live? I mean, okay, even if I live another 50 years, who wants to live the next 50 years like that if they don't have, you know what I mean? Like, if there's so I can't say it was soothing. Obviously, there are people out there who are thriving and surviving under those conditions. So I don't want to minimize that, but I also can't minimize the shift that would have caused in my life either way,
right.
So that was a very, very, very sobering transition. And like I said, even after 5 years, even though that was supposedly the 5-year survival rate, I didn't feel comfort after 5 years. I'd say I probably, this year was in March, was 10 years for me. This year, I think, was the first time that I was like, okay, all right. And honestly, the reason why for 10 years, I couldn't even get life insurance. Because they were like, you might be gone. We're not going to give you this, So it took 10 years of me being removed from that experience before a life insurance company.
Before they told you that they believe you would live. What is that about?
Okay.
That's nasty. Actually, when you think about it, you're a gamble.
Okay, so yes, like those are the little things. It's like, no, that's not. You have this messaging around you that's telling you might still check out. So
I mean, when you think about just the way, sorry, America.
No, please.
We have a problem. When you think about that, companies are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Your right to live is conditional.
Right. Live a little longer first. Let's see.
What does insurance mean? Okay, anyways, we're back. Wow. Well,
yeah.
What a testament to what you've been able to do. I also think, none of this is funny, but when you had said, your kind of test back was a performance with Beyonce, I'm still just like, okay, it shows the kind of talent that you have when it's just, I might not have been able to sing for a year, but my first test, I'll just go on stage.
Go up here, yeah, no, that's not lost on me.
That's crazy.
Not lost. Yeah.
So now that insurance has affirmed your life.
Listen, I'm here.
Let's talk about, because we've been talking around. Let's talk about your artistry. So, I want to hear, what are you most excited about? What are we working on? What are the projects that are giving you the most joy right now?
So, What has been amazing is I feel like for the first time in a really, really long time, I'm starting to have a vision about that. I always knew I wanted more for myself. I always knew I wanted to do like an album and a project, and I see myself as a solo artist, but I just didn't know what that looked like. I am not shy about my age. I am 48 years old.
Because you don't look it. That's why.
Oh, thank you. I'm 48 years old. I'm thankfully, I've had people tell me I don't necessarily look like it, but I am also a product of a much earlier music industry, I'd say. A music industry where by my age you're exiting, not entering as in a certain space. So one of the things that I first had to allow myself to do is remove limitations on myself. Because honestly, nobody's putting them on. I'm putting them on myself. Nobody else told me I can't. I told myself I can't, So I've done that. But with that being said, at this big age, it's so crazy because I think one of the reasons why I've been so challenged with seeing myself as an artist is because I've been working with Beyoncé for all of these years. I have so much more in me than your average debut album or your average, here, listen to my demo project. Like, no, I freaking performed at Glastonbury in the Super Bowl. Like, I've had these experiences. In addition to that, I come from such a broad background. In college, I studied classical music. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, so I grew up listening to country music. I'm a product of church since 3 years old, so I absolutely, I'd say, was trained on gospel music. And then my career is very much in R&B and pop and all of the things. Every bit of those genres are who I am. And for the longest, I'm like, where does that place me? One of the beautiful things that I've had recently, I've been exposed to, I've always been fascinated by do I want to put this out there? Yeah, I'm going to put it out there. I've always been fascinated by orchestras and because that's kind of my background, orchestras and performance halls. I'm not really, I'm not a SoFi Stadium girl. I'm more of a Lincoln Center girl, but I'm not an opera girl and I'm not so for the longest, I'm like, where is my space? Someone that inspires me a lot. I'll do a throwback and I'll do contemporary, but artists like throwback, like back in the day, Barry White, when he had that is just, I've always been fascinated about that. I love Tank and the Bangers. I love Ray. I love Cynthia Erivo. I love Shalea. That is how I see myself kind of as an artist and the type of projects that I think would allow me to kind of show my full range. So now, lately, that's kind of what I've been working on, actually bringing, I don't know that I necessarily want to wait. For a while, I was saying, I want my debut to be at this big concert hall. I don't know if I want to wait for that because I'm ready to get my music out. Right. But I'd say in terms of artistry for me, I want it to be rooted in all of the different genres and opportunities that I've been influenced by. I am an arranger, so I just also think that will also give me room to incorporate my own arrangements and my own ideas in far more of a colorful way than what one would say your average mainstream arena stadium type audience is looking for. That's not me. Right. I'm very much put me on a soundtrack or at the hall or Carnegie Hall.
Yes, we love an intimate performance. Hall.
Yes, give me that. So yeah, I've been thinking about that and kind of putting that together and mapping that out lately, and that really excites me, which isn't something I've been able to kind of lock in on in a long time, because for a long time I just felt like I was trying to figure out where I fit. Now I see it. I just need to execute it. So that's what I'm working on now.
Okay, so we'll be looking for the live tickets.
Yes.
Wow, no, I'm excited. And Yeah, so now you're writing music and trying to also, are you collaborating with musicians?
I am do so. That has been something I didn't always do a lot of in the past, and I've gotten so much from that this year. I've done a lot of collaborating this year, and I love it. And I love it because sometimes I've had, the funny thing is, some people know me as kind of a happy person, a joyful person. It gets really dark in here.
Mm.
It gets really, really dark in here. And so I think my outward personality is both fighting what sometimes is in here and also speaking to what's sometimes in there. My music, though, comes from in there.
Got it. Okay.
So, one of the things that collaboration has helped me with this year is not giving me a different view even of my experiences so they don't seem so heavy, because I felt like a lot of the music that I've written in the past, it was nice, it was meaningful, it had a message, but it was kind of heavy,
Right.
you know. And that is kind of the antithesis of what people get from me when they talk to me. So it's like, wait a minute, where's this sad stuff coming from?
Do you remember we were hanging by a string in a hopeless state of mind? We were running out of time. Oh, and I can remember trying to find a place, a way to make things right. I know where we are. We weren't too far for our love to hit a spot.
Collaboration has kind of helped pull me out of that. And again, still being mine, but I'll take something, I'm like, yeah, see, that's so sad. And then they're like, no, well, actually, I see it like this. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So definitely looking to collaborate even more, particularly for my, I absolutely have no desire for my project to be all me. No.
Okay.
I absolutely am looking forward to collaboration. It's just important to me. I've spent so much of my career telling someone else's story. I just want to make sure I'm telling my story. I am very stubborn about that. Good for you if you have a story to tell, to create an album. I have told lots of other people's stories, and when it comes to my stuff, I want to make sure I'm telling my story. So in collaboration, I feel like I'm stubborn with that, but only because it's like I just have to get this out. I just have to do this my way. But finding genuine people who find joy in helping me do that has been helpful. And I've been finding more people like that. I have also worked with people who they had their own vision for my career and what music I should be doing, and how that's kind of like the management thing I came out of. He had a great vision for me if I was a blank slate.
Right.
But I'm not a blank slate. And nothing that he saw for me brought my story with me. So I love collaboration as long as it is very subjective.
Sure. Well, as long as you recognize, again, like there's one vision, there's one vision that everyone's helping out with. You've done this, so you know,
yes,
by your own existence that it's possible to fully support someone else's vision when it's time to do that, and then to do your own thing. So I imagine there are Tiffany's along your journey who will also help enhance.
Yes, I hope so. And I will say, I always want to add as a footnote, another thing I've learned, and I want to make sure that the context of this is said right, because it can be misunderstood. But one of the things I am passionate about, though, I have been the person who was responsible for executing somebody else's vision. Because I've been that person, I also know what that person feels like. I don't ever want to create at full disregard of what that person must be feeling. because I know what it feels to be like that. I know what it feels like to be in a room and it's like, wow, I would love to contribute. I hear what you're doing. I just like the opportunity to contribute. I know what it feels like to be in the room and know that you're qualified for something, but because someone doesn't see you in that way, just because that's never been their experience, they never think of you for that. I hope that from my experiences, I've learned to be an empathetic leader and an empathetic artist, in that understanding that anybody that is in the space with you are there because there is art in them too. And hopefully you can find a space for it.
Wow.
You know, I would like to work with people where I don't mind including their art in my, obviously, yes, I want to do my own thing. This is my house. That's why I built it. But, but I hope that I am also one of those people that does not exhaust the talents of someone else, and then they can't even find home in my work. They've given all of that time and all of that effort, and they don't see a home in their creations here. I don't want that, because I know what that feels like. To know that you're a part of a body of work and you're the only, you and maybe that person is the only one that will ever know. And so you can't take, like, have I won Grammys? Yeah, I guess. But they're not mine, And sometimes you're lucky enough to get, like, I will say with B, I've gotten at least like participation certificates and things like that at least acknowledge your contribution. There are some where I was work for hire and I'm nowhere to be found. And I know, like, I literally came up with that whole bridge right there. And, I hope that anyone that laid a brick
can take credit for the house.
Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful. And like you said, important. I mean, your awareness of that will make you a more empathetic leader. I think most people generally do. Well, let me pause there. People replicate what they don't heal from.
Right.
Or they become better because they've dealt with the situation.
Right.
And so I feel like you are the latter of that. Just from my own working with you and our own experience.
Sweet. Thank you. I hope so. Yes. And again, that's not always easy to do, because I also recognize when you are someone who has laid a lot of bricks and when you've done a lot of work, I believe there are times when you sow and there's times when you reap. In your harvest season, you got to know how to accept your harvest. And sometimes it's not the time to give the harvest out there. Everybody can't eat. Everybody can't always eat, You have to know that. But that don't mean that nobody can eat.
Right. That we're all starving?
So yeah, there's a balance to it. By all means, if you worked hard and you came up with this idea in your bedroom, one day on a rainy day, by all means, this is your moment. But there's nothing wrong with saying, thank you for helping me get there.
Nothing.
There's nothing wrong with saying that, So I hope that, and I'll put it this way, and even in the times where, because none of us are perfect. We don't always get it right. But one thing I will give myself credit for, if I think about something, even if I'll go back and try to go, hey, I'm sorry. I forgot.
Right.
Like, just because I want to know that I'm learning that lesson as much as I want the people who experienced me to know that I know better.
Absolutely.
If that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sweet.
So many things. I love having these conversations because I learn, I think I know what we're going to talk about, and then I learn so much more.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Same.
You're right.
Same.
So I have a couple questions as we conclude.
Yes.
Looking back at that person who, received that call from working from pharmaceuticals,
right.
What would you tell her now with all the wisdom that you've in the experience that you gain?
Ooh. Ooh. But there's layers. There's layers. Ooh, what would I tell the girl at that pharmaceutical company? Wow, that is an amazing question. I've never talked to her. I've never talked to her. Because there's so much I would tell her on both sides of things. One of the things I will say is that, number one, you're not making a mistake. The family will be fine. Mm-hmm. Because I definitely, even when I got the call, I remember going into a park and just crying. Like, what kind of wife am I? What kind of mother am I to just leave talking about chasing my dreams or whatever? And my son right now is an aspiring artist. And I know that he's inspired by seeing me go and get it. And even the pride that he has when he sees me doing things lets me know I made the right decision. So number one, I would give her peace. Like, girl, stop crying. You're going to be fine. No, that would be number one. Number two, I would say, don't get stuck. It's an amazing opportunity and you should take it, but don't get too comfortable. And I would say that because although I would not be who and what I am if I didn't do everything exactly the way I did it. Mm-hmm. With that being said, knowing what my goal was when I came into it originally, I should have followed my first plan. Just so that I wouldn't be 48 years old wondering what would happen if I would have followed my first plan. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Okay. So I had an opportunity one time to be signed, so to speak, since I started working with B. And long story short, I didn't take it because I was worried about what impact it would have on other people that were not a part of my family. Mm-hmm. I made decisions based on other people when ultimately my life didn't end up being with those people anyway. Right. So, and so I would just tell myself, don't get too comfortable, and you were given this for a reason. Go. I do feel like God gave me chances to try again, so I don't feel like, well, I'm not gonna say I didn't miss out. I think I missed out on what I originally wanted, trying to do everything with everybody. Mm-hmm. I'll just say it that way.
Sure, right.
I'll just say it that way. And everybody can't come. Everybody can't come. Ultimately, I had to learn that lesson the hard way anyway. And it wasn't even my choice. So I would tell her, you're going into this alone. Remember why you started and stick to that. And finally, I would tell her, learn about your finances before you leave this job. Learn how to manage, learn how to save. Do not go on tour and ball out. because my first tour, I went on tour and kind of balled out and came home broke. And there is something very humbling about touring the world and the world seeing you and knowing your name and all that other stuff. And then you can't even borrow a pack of toilet tissue because you're broke. There is a level of, I should put that in the category of safe collaboration. There is a lack of education that I'm hoping it's better now just because of the way social media and everything is, hopefully. When I first started in the industry, the assumption was, oh, I'm about to go on tour with this major artist. Oh, I'm set. I made it. I'm good. You don't realize, like, all artists don't pay retainers. And some of the artists that even pay retainers, it's not necessarily, like, you still got to do something else, right. And so I have so many friends that started off on tours not realizing this is a gig, not a job. And that check is going to come to an end. And when that check comes to an end, number one, did you save? Because if you save, you might be able to be okay till the next thing comes up. If you didn't save, you're gonna be in trouble. And I definitely in those beginning years, I was in trouble. So yeah, I would definitely. That is something. That's a problem I never encountered in corporate America.
Of course, because it was a job. I think that what you just said, a gig, not a job, is serious. I mean, I don't think that I've ever really heard that described. But like you said, a gig ends. It begins.
Yeah, a gig ends. Yes, it's your turn, not your job. So literally, everybody sometimes gets a turn, and when your turn is up, if you have not put an infrastructure in place financially, in terms of your business structure, who are you when that tour is over? Who are you? Are you waiting for another tour? Because you shouldn't be if you are.
Right.
And in the beginning, I didn't know that, so I came home and I was waiting for the next tour. And then let me just say, in the very, very beginning, Beyoncé was a new artist. So when I started working with B in the beginning, like she was doing promo shows and she was doing, so we were working. Then she got to the point where she didn't need to do all of that. A blessing for her. Now she doesn't have to work so hard for her art. But hey,
you said she ain't working hard. Then we ain't working.
Right. Right. Wait a minute. So again, those are some of the lessons that people will sell you. Oh yes, I sing background for this person, and yes, I'm working full time in the music industry. Make sure you're working full time. Working.
You said being seen full time and working full time are not always the same.
Are two totally different things. And I would also tell that girl, like just last note, I would also tell that girl to be willing to do other things. It's a shame that, and I don't know, maybe it was a misconception, but I think another thing I thought when I left that corporate job and started because I don't want to give any misunderstanding. It's not like I was leaving that corporate job to work for Beyoncé full time. I was working on a tour with her, using that as a gateway opportunity to work full time in the music industry.
Okay, got it.
I want to make sure that's clear. Because she was new in the industry at the time and she was working all the time, I confess she did occupy the majority of my schedule for a long time. But there were absolutely times where we were not working with her and you had to go find something else to do to keep your checks rolling in. I didn't realize that that's what I was signing up for when I first started, like when I left that corporate job. And I left. I didn't even I took a leave of absence, but that leave of absence was done by the time I came back from tour. So the job was gone. Mm-hmm. So then the thing that I initially has to wrestle with is, wait, do I go get a regular job? Or do I was fortunate. And I say that because I've talked to other background vocalists who didn't have this experience. Somehow, some way, I was always connected to a music director or someone who always had some opportunity. So I would just leapfrog from gig to gig to gig to gig to gig and was able for a long time to sustain a full-time healthy income from the music industry. But then there were also those times when you got to supplement. You might have to supplement with Uber. You might have to supplement with studio, whatever you can come up with, studio sessions. So in my case, what I did, I started other businesses. So I started an apparel company and I actually started that while I was recovering from cancer as well, kind of, because I was like, I might not be able to sing. Let me find something else. I love inspirational quotes and inspirational statements. So I was taking those and putting them on shirts, and selling that, But again, that's not something that I knew coming into the music industry. I had to learn that. So I would definitely tell that person and anyone wanting to go into the music industry full time, what you are really asking for is to start your own business as a full-time artist. You are starting your own business as a full-time artist. You are not about to be on somebody. Maybe you will find that artist that has you on their full-time payroll. Most of these artists ain't trying to work that much to be able to put you on their full-time payroll. So you are starting your own business, and you have to know, just like any other business order, business, does, so to speak. What am I doing this year? How will I get this done? How will I get these opportunities? Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to connect with to make this a reality? Didn't know that in the beginning. Definitely learned that after some trial and error.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, what a journey. I mean, the good and the bad, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
what you've been able to create. I think like so many of the opportunities, including Gap, I mean, I think
Yes.
it's a testament to what you have been able to do. Yes, connection
you.
to other people, but that you had to show up and do the work.
Right.
So
Yes. Yes, I did. Wait, Snoop said, I want to thank me.
you
Listen, you better thank yourself and all of that, because you do. You have to show up, and it's not always easy showing up. And it's not always convenient showing up.
No.
And sometimes you're going to show up and you're not going to be appreciated, and you still got to turn around and show up again tomorrow. So pat yourself on the back for enduring that and doing that anytime you get that next opportunity or that next call, because it was those sacrifices that contributed to you getting to that point. It's the climb.
It's the climb. That's the podcast. No, I think that woman who is at the pharmaceutical company would be very, very proud
I hope so.
of
I
what
hope
you
so.
have accomplished and what you continue to accomplish. We will be looking out for the new projects and things.
Yes. Super excited about that. Yes.
But thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being so open. And thank you again personally for, also shining a light about worth to me.
Yes.
So a new friend through all the things. And certainly just so excited to see what's ahead and to be able to celebrate what you've already done. So
yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. Again,
Tiffany
Monique, the star. My name is Alexander Lloyd Blake. This might get personal. See you all soon.